What's going on, folks? It's Kish Yardy Gaming Nation back in the building to come up with this serious topic today. Um, Seems to me in these spaces, especially now in today's day and age, as the title says, um, the only sin now is a black man who wants a modest wife. Why is that? It's because in today's day and age, we shame black men for wanting traditional women. If you look on the balloon pop shows or any of these places, um, it's like the men have a hard time saying, I want a traditional chick. And if they even hint towards saying, I want a traditional woman or a non promiscuous woman, the balloon pops. They pop the balloon. A lot of people don't understand that that's a psychological training. It's like when you train the dog to react to a whistle, dog whistle, right? And you whistle that silent whistle, the dog comes or he jumps or he does a trick. That's what the balloon pop show is. And I notice on the balloon pop shows, if the brother's up there and he's saying he's looking for a non-promiscuous chick, they pop the balloons, right? And the women that they typically bring onto those shows are promiscuous women. They're not up to that traditional standard, and they're doing that on purpose, right? And I have to ask the question that's become taboo in today's world: are men, especially traditional black men, still allowed to hold women to a traditional standard? Because the truth is that the house of tradition, the structure, the order, the foundation of society, was built by the men who lived by those same values: hardworking, disciplined, protective providers, patriarchal. Men who believed in something greater than the next trend or hookup. So, how is it that now, when a man says, I don't want a promiscuous woman, I don't want a woman for the streets, he's suddenly the problem? He's labeled insecure, controlling, or misogynistic. That's crazy. A man setting a traditional standard and holding women up to a traditional standard and saying he doesn't want a promiscuous woman is labeled as controlling or misogynistic. No, it's not hate, it's standards, it's legacy. A man knowing his value and refusing to invest it into someone who doesn't reflect the future he's trying to build, right? Traditional men were always about the future, and they understood that a promiscuous woman that's having sex with different men and have no intentions of being traditional was not the type of woman you build a legacy with. Let's talk it straight. Especially in black culture, this mindset has become almost forbidden. You're supposed to accept anything, tolerate anything, or else you're not real. You're not a real nigga. But let's flip it. Women will still say they want a man who provides, protects, and leads. They want the benefits of tradition while rejecting the boundaries that make tradition work. What are those boundaries, right? The boundaries that made those gender roles work were the men saying, no promiscuous women, you cook, you clean, and I protect and I provide, right? The reason being is that women are not built for struggle. You see it with black women on this internet complaining. They're complaining about the position they're in, that they put themselves in, right? But you can't have one without the other. If you want to keep king, you got to act like a queen. Not an influencer, not a city girl, not a side chick, a queen. Because tradition ain't oppression, is structure. And the men who built the house of tradition have every right to decide who's worthy of entering it. You don't get to change the rules once the roof is over your head. You don't get to mock the builders, then complain when the walls start to crack. So to every man out there tired of being ashamed for having standards, stand firm. You're not wrong, you're not toxic, you're not insecure. You're just a builder who refuses to let the house fall, and that's called leadership. Now, let's break down why um, traditional black men are being shamed for saying, I don't want a 304, I don't want a promiscuous chick, I don't want to wife up those type of women. Well, first of all, what y'all got to understand is that for a minute, black culture has been under attack by Marxism and communism. Marxism, the idea of Marxism is to get rid of the patriarchal structure. Let me go to a slide. I do have a slide that I made that talks about that. Give me a second. Marxism. All right, right here. I have a slide for it. How Marxism was used to destroy the black male patriarchy. All right. So y'all got to understand before I go to the slide. The reason being is if black men are setting traditional standards in the house and the black women are following his traditional standards, they're respecting his traditional patriarchal rule. The idea behind patriarchy or being patriarchal is capitalism. Capitalism, it creates a class structure, man, woman, and child. The idea of Marxism is to get rid of class and structure. That's the idea of Marxism. To go deeper than that, promiscuous women, they do not benefit a traditional society, a traditional house. Promiscuous women, it's rebelling against traditionalism. Why? It's because that men have control or rulership over how a woman's sexuality is. And really, truly, when you take it back to the Victorian age, it wasn't the men that they had control over the woman's sexuality. It was a standard to being set. The men said, if you are a wife, you get traditional guy, a guy that protects, provides, and leads you, right? If you were a 304, you were just a chick at the brothel that he smashed. That was the standard. Women still had a choice. You could choose to be either a chick at the brothel. Sully Harris, I might go fuck your mother tonight because you bothering me. Your mom might just get dick put in her. Or maybe you're a chick and you need dick. Or maybe you're a dude. Maybe you're on this channel because you missed the fact that Diddy can't diddle with your butthole no more. So you fucking with me. Just stop playing with me. I'm not a nice guy nigga. I could be respectful, but I can roast your dumb ass at the same time. So what I'm gonna do is now ban you from the chat. Hold on. My thing is, if you don't like the content that I'm spewing, why sit there and watch me and comment in my shot? Because I'm gonna roast you when you jump in here, and I'm gonna say some wild shit to you. Anyway, so promiscuous women during the Victorian age, right? It wasn't that the women didn't have a choice. The choice was either you be a wife and you get rewarded with a traditional man, or if you're not a wife, you don't get traditional relationship. If you're a 304, you just have to brothel. And back in the Victorian age, a traditional man or a man of a certain quality or stature, he wasn't even allowed to walk down a block with, say, a thick ass Daphne, a Cherokee to ass, or what you would call today's modern day 304. He wouldn't, or Instagram model. If he was an Instagram model and he was shaking your ass online, back in the day, a man, it was seen as shame for a man of certain status or high stature to deal with that woman. That's why I disagree with Myron or a lot of the fresh and fit guys when they say that a high value, high status dude should be able to control an Instagram chick's page. I say that if you want to talk about going back to tradition, a high value man or gentleman of that time was seen as being shameful to RG3. Diddy wants you to go rub it down with some baby oil. Talking about Pookie Boy. You're gonna get banned. I'm gonna ban you every time you walk up in here and say something stupid. Respect my channel. Just like you respect a big titty bitch channel, respect this channel. Pookie Boy. Diddy needs his ass to be baby oil in prison. So when you get a chance and he gets locked up in there, make sure you're the first one to go give him his commissary of baby oil, RGO3. Anyway, so with the Victorian age, right? And I hate when these niggas don't jump into my chat because then it throws me off. You feel me? And that's probably what they're doing. So yeah, promiscuous women, it follows. You gotta understand, feminism is the extension of Marxism. Feminism is because if now other men start to code to other men with Marxism, it's not going to be so easy. They're going to fight each other. But now feminism now is the extension of Marxism because it's now your woman rebelling against you, right? And it's much more difficult for you to go toe to toe with women because you're a man and you're perceived as bigger and stronger than her, right? So y'all gotta understand for black men, the reason why you're being shamed away from your tradition is because it's a Marxist tactic. And back during the boomer generation, the greatest generation, the silent generation, and Gen X, and even the earlier millennials, they didn't have the technology that they had today, where it was much easier to find out if a chick was a 304. Back during the boomers and the greatest generation and the silent generation, they didn't have a cell phone. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have any of that stuff. They didn't really did not know if the chick they were dating or courting at the time was a 304 or not. They really didn't know. Right? She could have been a 304 in Alaska, or she could have been a 304 in France. She moved to down south to Atlanta, and you would never know she was a hoe in France. That's what the Victorian. That's what the Boomer generation was. Now we're in the modern day, and black men have Instagram. They have social media, so it's easier for you to figure out if the chick you're dealing with is a 304 or not, or if she's a good woman or not. Right? That's how a lot of men in the Gen X generation and the Boomer generation got into relationships with feminists, or as I would like to call Serafina viruses, because they didn't know what those women were. They couldn't tell, right? This chick could pretend to be a traditional woman, but behind closed doors, she's a whole feminist. Remember, I said the Serafina virus intention is to pretend to be in a relationship with you, to get into that relationship with you, and then destroy you. Like Agent Smith in the Matrix. Agent Smith in the Matrix, what he did was is that he would turn you into him. That was the whole point, right? So we're gonna go into this, right? How Marxism was used to destroy black male patriarchy. They saw the traditional patriarchal family, father, mother, and children with male leadership a microcosm of capitalism. To them, family was a training ground for hierarchy, father above wife and children, the system that taught obedience to authority, and a way to pass on private property, which you know how black people talk about generational wealth? That's what that is, right? Inheritance, land, wealth, and through bloodlines. And let's argue that the monogamous patriarchal family emerged only to protect private property and ensure that man could pass wealth to his biological children, not someone else. Why the fuck would what? So now Mark calls Marx and Engels. They're revealing themselves in what they say. Why would you not want somebody to own their own stuff and then pass down his legacy down to his children? Why would you not want that? Because they want to have ultimate control over you, right? So for those of you guys who are pushing open, now the most important thing is monogamous patriarchal family, right? Monogamy is a patriarchal standard. Monogamy says that I get into a relationship with one chick, and me and that one chick we create a structured family, and now I don't have children from three different women, and this woman doesn't have children from four different men that she don't know which child the which child the father belongs to. It's a structured family unit. It's easier to build wealth because now the father knows where his children are, and he can better afford those children that he made with that one woman, right? The one woman can take care of those children that she made with that one man, and then now those children they inherit the father's inheritance, and then they innovate and build off of that wealth, generational wealth, right? So black culture and black men, this is why they shaming you from requesting a non-promiscuous traditional woman, because now it's going to create a class structure in black community. Now, the players and the Max and the Silk type of niggas, what happens is that they were benefiting from there not being any traditional structure or hierarchy in black culture, right? The players they benefited from black women not having any traditional fathers in the house because they made the players have easy access to a free pussy, a box economy. So now that black men are able to be on the internet instead of traditional standard, the players are coming on the internet and using feminist shaming tactics to shame black men into not shaming black men into not requesting non-promiscuous women, right? So, example, I use the Balloon Pop show. On the Balloon Pop show, a lot of the brothers are afraid to say, yo, I don't want a promiscuous chick. I don't want a 304. I don't want a chick for the streets. As a matter of fact, if you're a brother today in real life and you say that in a date, it's like walking on eggshells to say that. To say you want a chick that cook clean and it's not a 304. How did this nigga come back after I blocked him? Grim Rotan. Hey, Grim Rotan. It's not some incel shit. Stupid. If you're a dumb motherfucker, do not say anything into my chat. Go away. A lot of people that troll on this, that go come on YouTube just to troll people, y'all are some of the most dumbest motherfuckers in history. Y'all need lives. See, traditional men would have whooped your asses. And this internet make y'all niggas too comfortable to come into people's chat and talk shit. You need to go back to bullying. Anyway, so yeah, so black men, that's why they're shaming you into that. This is why the players are shaming you into that. The nigga, the Mac and the game niggas, this is why they're shaming you into picking promiscuous women, right? Because now if you keep picking promiscuous women and you get into relationships with promiscuous women, it's gonna say is the women are gonna say, okay, cool. Well, I don't have to be a traditional chick. I don't have to be a good woman. I could just be a hoe and still get a traditional man after that. And you know what I'm saying? That's the same reason why they call you simp if you get upset and you decide to go delete a brother from messing with your wife. They're just afraid of the consequences of it, right? Now, mind you, it's not that you're a simp because you are upset that a dude's messed with your wife and you go to delete her, delete the dude that messed with your wife. The reason being is because that dude violated your territory. He entered your territory and he fucked with your territory. The problem for men, if you go do that, it's gonna fuck up your future. And it really makes no sense. And you now going to prison or in the penitentiary, or no, you losing your life or your future because a chick chose to do what she did with her box with some other nigga. Especially if you was a dude and you were doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's my issue with today's society, right? When a brother is doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's protecting, he's providing, and that woman cheats on him, nobody looks at the woman and says, but wait a minute, the brother did what he was supposed to be doing and you still cheated. That's not the brother's fault. That's a reflection of that woman's actions, right? But we won't hold the woman accountable and say, yo, you was wrong for that. We completely blame why this chick chose to be bad to a good dude. But anyway, um, we're gonna go into some videos. All right, so I'm gonna move that from the stage. I'm gonna go on here. Let's go into let's see. The first couple I want to put up on the screen and showcase to you is this woman right here. Share. this woman right here? It's a black. This is a black chick too. This is a black woman right here.
him. It makes me so happy to know that he knows that although I love to love on my
Now this is something called "I am a trad wife" or traditional wife, um, which I love that term. Right? You can have all these different LGBT terms, but you can't have a traditional term to represent women. Right? This is the ideal black woman right here that I'm gonna play. This is the standard that every black man who's a traditional nigga. This is the type of woman you should pursue, including myself. Right? I love what? Whatever. All right.
husband. I love to love on my husband. I love to see him sit and enjoy a meal or a dessert that I've made him. It makes me so happy to know that he knows that although I could be in my warm, comfy bed, I choose to get up, make sure he has breakfast and his lunch is packed for work. I enjoy creating a peaceful and relaxing atmosphere for him to come home to. I love that I'm the one that gets to rub his back.
What's wrong with a black man
Here's how we
saying,
made
hold
this.
on, you gotta play that. What's wrong with a brother saying that's what he wants? What's wrong with a brother saying, I want that type of chick that's not promiscuous? And it says, Caitlin Smith, so shout out to Caitlin Smith, has been married to her husband Marvin for 13 years, and the pair have 5 children together. This is a traditional house. The black culture will call this chick a pick me, and they will call this brother a I forgot what term they call this brother again, but they call her a pick me, right? And this is what Marxism does not like. It doesn't like the fact that she submits to her husband and they have a structured family. This brother right here, they call him a lame the way he looks, but you know, this type of dude got the best type of chick, according to what you niggas are saying you're looking for today, right? But black culture and a lot of you player niggas would want this nigga to go date a sexy red, to go date an Instagram hoe. You don't want this brother to be with a chick like this that wants to be a traditional dude, that wants to be a traditional woman. The 31-year-old who describes herself as a homemaker and the traditional wife says part of the reason their marriage works so well is her commitment to staying respectful to her husband's wishes. On her list of the 12 no's is friendship with other men, complaining about his incomes, rolling her eyes at him, and refusing to submit. But yo, now if she's describing what the rules of that relationship is, the 12 no's. You play a game, niggas will tell him he's insecure, but he got the type of woman he wants. That was, so the game niggas, the Mac niggas, the player niggas, the game niggas, they would say that a man is insecure if he wants a woman that can't have friendships with other men, right? They say he's insecure. Now, the reason why they're saying that is because they don't want men to stop other dudes from fucking their wives. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. So now, if I put a boundary for my woman to follow, it takes away access from the other dudes. That's what that really is. Now, I can't see how a game nigga would get mad at this chick right here because guess what? She's agreeing and submitting to this man's standards. Isn't that the ultimate objectivity of the game? Is to find a woman that's compatible to you? I want to hear a game nigga argue me with that. I've had to put, I've had people refer to me as my husband's slave and being brainwashed. See, Caitlin, who's based in Canada, told "What's the jam?" People make assumptions that aren't true. She's also been accused of having a lobotomy, bashing women and making them seem inferior to men, acting this way for a husband's money and being willful victim of controlling men. So hold on, let me ask this question. The idea of a traditional person is to protect, provide, and all that other stuff, right? If I'm providing your lifestyle and resources, and you're benefiting from that. Why shouldn't you be beneficial to me by cooking, cleaning, and obeying my standards? That's the whole point. Caitlin and Marvin dated Marvin 30 dated for 3 years before tying the knot, and have been together 16 years in total. 16 years, 5 kids. So obviously Marvin is doing something properly, and she's doing something properly. In their relationship, they've had a traditional setup, with Marvin the breadwinner and Caitlin as the homemaker, a role she's considered to be prioritizing the management of your home. A recent series shared on social media pages, she documented 12 ways in which she feels women may be disrespecting their husbands and one of the potential issues it can cause. I want to see what that is. This include not being rude to your husband, which can cover anything from telling him off, name calling, rolling your eyes, and other rude facial expressions. What's wrong with a brother wanting a black woman that's like that? That's what black men have been telling black women that they want. And this is a black woman giving what black men request. But if a brother says this, it's a sin. By the way, click the like, share, and subscribe. If you're a dumb motherfucker, I will block you out of my chat. All right, so let's go back to it. She continued to explain that with social media video series, she's hoping to open the eyes of other wives to how they. Oh, so I already read that. A typical. So let me say this. I just want other women to have the best marriage possible for them to do their part to achieve that. A traditional relationship cannot work if the man is just leading but the woman is not following. She has to do her part by following his instructions. It's the same thing with the military or the army or the president of the nation. The nation cannot work if the nation is not following the instructions of its local government or the president. Same thing with the army. The typical day for Caitlin includes Bible readings and prayer in the morning, followed by chores, exercise, and getting ready for the day. She then prepares breakfast for the family and starts homeschooling her. She homeschools before doing some baking, going for a walk, and making lunch. Mind you, she's not doing this for a lazy nigga. This nigga is the breadwinner. Should then do another tidy of the house with the help of the kids. So the kids are helping her before freshening up herself and putting on some makeup. She added, and this is not an ugly woman right here. She added that she'll sometimes light candles and put on relaxing music. I would take this. That ass. All right. She added that if she was Jamaican or Caribbean, I would take this. She added that she'll sometimes light candles and put on relaxing music, depending on her husband's mood after work. So black men. This is why they shame passport bros, because passport bros can find this at a higher rate or higher percentage in a Latin country, or they can find this with an Afro Latino at a higher percentage. So now, if you're able to experience this type of chick, it's not gonna set a new standard for black men, the type of woman that they're gonna deal with or want, and that's gonna cause black women to have to step their game up. That's another reason why the player Mac and game niggas don't want you to pick non-promiscuous women, because if you get into relationships with women like this, and it's 16 years and it's the perfect relationship, like that's why they shame Anton Daniels, because now that becomes the new standard, right? And the brothers are the breadwinners, and he finds a wife that's submitting to his patriarchal rule. Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay, so another chick I want to. So that's a black woman right there, right? Look at this. Life of a trad wife. I want to point out something. The trolls that came into my chat, I'm doing a video that's titled "The Only Sin Now is a Black Man Who Wants a Modest Wife," and I'm doing videos exposing how black men, it's a sin or taboo, or how black men in society cannot say they want a traditional wife or they can't say a modest wife, and trolls enter my chat to troll me. But they don't go in the chat where niggas is LGBT. Mind you, they don't fuck with they don't fuck with the LGBT community. They don't go into chat rooms and troll them, but they'll troll me for speaking on an issue that I see with black men not being able to say I want a modest wife. For something that's been an issue for a long time. This is why Kevin Samuels shook y'all up. But I get trolls. They don't troll the big titty content creators. They don't troll the bitches that are feminists on this internet. Mind you, if those trolls went into a feminist woman's internet and they disrespected her and that woman told them, shut the fuck up and donate, they'd shut the fuck up and donate. A lot of y'all trolls need to get bullied in your life and you need to get your ass whooped in life. Anyway. What is she, Italian? This is why they don't want y'all to get with Becky's, right? Now, I'm not saying Becky's are the end all be all, but at least it's a higher percentage for a brother to find him I'll say a foreign Becky, like Italian, Russian, or Armenian, right? It's a better opportunity. Now, brothers, you still gotta vet and you still gotta be a man. You still gotta say what you would tolerate and what you will not tolerate, and stand on them. If any kind of woman disrespect you, you got to leave that chick alone, or put your foot down and say, "Hey, you're not going to speak to me like that." So, brothers, that's the thing with us, right? We got to teach people how to respect us. That's why I respect Aaron the plumber, because he's willing to fight you, wouldn't lose or draw, right? So, but brothers, you got to teach the women and the people around you how to respect you. And if they can't respect you, don't be there. Don't give your energy or the value of you to that space, right? And that's what. And the thing is, if black men are able to step out of American culture and out of black culture and find better women, it's gonna give them a new standard. This is why they're lying. A lot of the game niggas be lying to y'all niggas and saying all women are the same. Yeah, all women are the same when it comes to if you're a man and you allow disrespect, they're gonna disrespect you, right? But all women the same where there's hoes and three or fours in every different culture? Absolutely, right? But guess what? In Latin culture, even though there's disrespectful women and there's three or fours in that culture, traditionally, they're still more trained and taught to be more family orientated and patriarchal orientated and center their men. Even though the Beckys in America right now, they're cutting up at their white dudes right now, they're still taught by their culture to be more traditional, more respectful of the men, right? Same goes for other groups of women. Same goes for Arab women. They're three or fours in Arab culture. But guess what? Traditionally, they're taught to be family orientated and respectful of their men. In black culture, is that taught? No. In black culture, black women are taught to be disrespectful of the men. Even the women who are not three or fours and not engaging into that stuff are disrespectful to black men. That's the difference. But the reason why niggas is lying to black men is so that you can't find that traditional woman, because it's gonna set a standard for everybody in black culture. I think this chick is Italian. What's she making? Pancakes? She made a whole meal. Oh, she made a herbal tea. Shout out to this chick. What's her name? Hold on. Her name is Sarah Haig. Haig. The life of a trad wife, traditional marriage trad wife. So shout out to this lady right here. See, I'm gonna do on my channel is that I'm gonna uplift and praise, especially black women that are traditional women. Since everybody gets to worship hoes, I'm gonna praise traditional women on here anytime I see them. All right, so this her name is Sarah Hygie, or however you pronounce her name. Oh, hold on, let me show this. He's the boss. I'm a trial wife. People call me a slave, but my husband the manager. I like the manager. I'm the employee. I won't disrespect him. That's and brother, look at the brother's face. Look at the brother. Y'all would call this nigga lame. And I'm glad that this chick got with this dude. Hold on. Where's the brother? Look at the brother. The photos. Look at the brother. I'm glad this chick got with this brother right here. Because what would have happened is what would happen is that the hoes would have got to him. Probably would have got to him. But he says he's the boss, so I think he probably knows how to vet. And she said they've been together for 16 years. So it probably was like the early 2000s or something like that. But yo, I'm all with that right there. So let me see. Let's see. Uh,
Traditional gender roles does not diminish us, it empowers us. Throughout history, the role of women as wives and mothers has been the backbone of a flourishing society. When we nurture our families and support our husbands, we discover our own strength, fulfillment, and purpose. Family first, that must be the priority.
I like what she's saying, but you got to be careful with women because she said that she said supporting a woman, and you're the thing is that a woman's submission is not more important than a man's leadership, right? And she said backbone. That's some shit black women use. Yo, we the backbone of the black community, and look where black culture has gone. So the backbone of any nation has to be respectful of the head of any nation. You got to follow the head or the man. So she did say supporting of the husband, and she put family first. That must be the priority. No, it's your man first. That's the priority. So you got to be careful with. Shout out to her anyway, Daniel Hag or Hage. Shout out to her anyway. All right, SD Williams. Hold on. So let me look up this trick right quick. And there's another chick. Let me see this. SD Williams. No, brothers. You still gotta vet these women, bro. You don't just go out there and you pick a random white woman or random any type of chick. You still gotta vet these bitches, bro. Or vet so you're not picking bitches and hoes. Bar. Black men, you gotta vet properly so you're not picking bitches and hoes. You gotta vet properly to make sure that this chick is actually a traditional wife. You can't, I mean, to begin with, y'all niggas that go on a balloon pop show, you cannot be afraid that they're gonna pop a balloon on you because you say you don't want a promiscuous woman. Them popping that balloon is like training a dog with a whistle. It's psychologically training you not to say that, right? When you say you don't want a promiscuous chicks, that's good. It throws away. It blocks. It shields you from the bad type of woman that's not good for you. And for those of you guys who's gonna say, uh, a traditional woman that loves a dude and is giving him sex whenever he say he wants sex, that's beneficial to him too. So this is my thing. I'm not saying you have to listen to me and only me. I'm only speaking for the traditional relationship because that's the relationship that black men are being shamed out of getting. So I'm pushing that. But if you're a dude and you're into open relationship and you're into all that stuff, don't listen to me. Get your promiscuous chick. Maybe that's what's best for you. My thing is that black men are not allowed to say, I don't want a 304 or I don't want a promiscuous chick. That's the problem. All right. Let's see here. So let's go into this. Let's go. Let me share this right here. Um, go back here. Percent. Share. Again, if you're a dumb motherfucker, I will block you from this chat. Go away. If you're not gonna say anything in my chat, that's respectful. Imagine that a society built by traditionalism in the modern day. If you say you want to be you have to make a movement, mind you, in a house called America that's built by the backs of traditional men. As a woman, you cannot say you want to be a tradwife. If you say it, you're now looked at as a witch. You're a demon. That's crazy where we at right now. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And behind why I'm doing it is so that the black traditional man can come back and speak what he's saying. Because right now it's the player and the Mac and the 304 that has the biggest influence. And the black man that say, I want to be a traditional nigga and I don't want no fucking 304, he the nigga that's the demon and the sinner. How the fuck we get there? Who's this? Oh, Nara? Hold on. So let me look at Nara. This I heard of Nola Simone and Nara. Nara Smith. Oh, she's a German model influencer. Okay, shout out to this chick. Also Nara, and I see the Nola Simone up here. Nola Simone. I think that's the name I heard. Nola Simone. I could be wrong. Additional wife. No, I don't see that up here. All right. So let me put. Oh shit! I don't have this on the stage. My bad. Add it to the stage. All right. So let's play that.
husbands, and they're not complaining. To them, it's actually freeing. Naturally, this kind of content resonates with many women who aren't happy with all the pressures of modern life. Take Nara Smith, for instance. She's a big name in the trad wife world, and she's always posting about her life,
The
like
reason
making meals
why
for
they're not because Nara Smith, she's a black German I get model, I guess. And the reason why they're not fucking with Nara Smith or black culture's not fucking with Nara Smith is because she's doing it for a white dude. If she was doing this for a black dude, boy.
scratch and supporting her
Look, if you
husband.
don't
She's
believe
got
me, Simone Biles is would be she's not disrespecting her man. Look how much hate she getting.
this huge following now, and she insists she's not trying to push some agenda. She said, "People assume I'm pushing a narrative about traditional gender roles, but that's not my intention." Then there's Hannah Nealman, who is a ballerina and now runs this massive farm in Utah with her 8 kids. Her content blends the aesthetics of rustic farm life with the demands of motherhood and has captivated millions, but she's also been
That's an old school Viking bitch right there. Now I'll play that.
open about the
That's an
sacrifices
old school Viking chick right there.
she's made.
That reminds me of that series on Netflix called Valhalla. That's what she reminds me of.
Giving up her ballet career to start a family and transitioning into an unfamiliar life. But some people think these women are glossing over the hard parts of this lifestyle, like the struggles and sacrifices that don't make it to Instagram. Hannah's even had to push back on some criticism, saying that her life is
Oh,
more balanced than it seems.
they would call this white. I guess they would call him a lame. No, black women wouldn't call this white man a lame. A white woman might, but black women wouldn't. They it's black culture is weird, bro.
Then there was that controversial article on her life on the Times and this huge viral thing where she got an egg collecting apron from her husband instead of a trip to Greece, which is what she really wanted for her birthday. And of course, people had all kinds of opinions about it. You're one of the few watching my videos. It would mean a lot if you clicked the like and subscribe buttons so I can reach people like you. So, of course, not everyone is on board with this whole trad wife thing. Critics argue that promoting traditional gender roles can be harmful, especially when it paints a picture of an ideal lifestyle that's not achievable for everyone. What about
Yeah, it's not achievable for you because you are ugly feminist and you're a Marxist. You're an ugly feminist Marxist that disqualified yourself. And the only people who don't qualify for a trad wife or traditional relationship is those of you feminists who are ugly or participated in the 304 hookup culture. Good.
women who don't want to get married or have kids, or those
Stay single and don't get married and don't have kids. Stay single, bitch.
who can't afford to stay home? Some people think it's bringing back outdated
So let me ask this question to black women who said you were strong and independent. Why are you upset that brothers are finding black women that are traditional women? Or traditional women. If you say you're strong and independent and you don't need a man, why would you give a fuck? Unless you want black women to go to hell with you, or unless you want a relationship with a man to support your dumbass lifestyle, which is what a lot of you on this internet are preaching. You want to be strong and independent, but still want a traditional nigga that's a slave to support your dumbass lifestyle. That's what that is. I think many brothers have pointed that out in these spaces, or else you wouldn't care. So this is my thing. The player Mac niggas say allow women to be free, but it's like they're saying they only want women to be free to be 304s or hoes. They don't want women to be free to be a traditional woman. The feminists say don't force a woman to do something she don't want to do or allow her body her choice. But if a woman chooses with her body to be submissive and a traditional wife or a trad wife, she's all of a sudden it's promoting something that's difficult for everybody to achieve, for the society of women to achieve, for those bitches, not for this chick or the women that choose to do this.
gender roles that we've spent decades trying to move away from. There's this TikTok creator, Jennifer, who makes a comment that what Nara Smith is doing is everything the patriarchy wants. Many point out that trad wife influencers downplay the downsides like financial dependency and conforming to a narrow definition of femininity, basically. On the other hand, supporters argue that this lifestyle gives women a sense of purpose and connection that's missing in today's fast paced world. They're not about being oppressed, they're choosing this because it works for them, free from societal pressures to conform to any particular norm. And some of these influencers are earning.
That's crazy. That so the what patriarchy, the structure of patriarchy is monogamy and being non-promiscuous. So because it's saying non-promiscuous, it sounds like you're controlling the sexuality of women, which it is. Let's be honest with that, right? Now, based upon what we see today, we see why those men, the men of the past, said, "Yo, you cannot be promiscuous. You cannot be out here, showcasing your box. Because you on Instagram, you go on social media, that's all you see. That's all you see. It's box, box, fat ass, and booty everywhere, rocking, jiggling, and twerking. You see what I'm saying? So, what women are saying why they don't want to follow the patriarchy is they're saying they want to be out of line and in chaos because they know if they follow the man, it's structure. They can't be evil. They can't be chaotic. They can't be difficult. Now, the reason why the player and the Mac niggas don't like patriarchy or they don't like, because you can't tell me that you're for patriarchy and for masculinity or patriarchy rule or traditionalism and at the same time promote women to be promiscuous because promiscuity is one of the rules of patriarchy and that benefits feminism because now it prevents women, it benefits feminism and Marxism at the same time because now it says to number one, it goes against patriarchal rule, and number two, it helps Marxism erase that class structure. So, but hold on, I want to look up Nora Smith right quick. Now, mind you, to brothers, black men, you're not gonna get every black woman. You're not gonna get every black chick to be traditional. I hope y'all figured that out already. What you could do is state your standards and not give a fuck what anybody say. Right? If that's your standard, if you don't want your woman not to, if you don't want your woman to have male friends, yo, that's your shit. That's like a dude could say he has no issue with his chick being in an open relationship where everybody's fucking his wife. You could say you don't want your woman to have any male friends. If it's cool in today's society for a man to say, I want a slut, I want a chick that's into sex culture, it should be okay for a traditional nigga to say, I don't want my woman to have male friends. Ain't that something? It's not a sin if you're a man and you're cool with your woman getting fucked by other dudes. But it's a sin if you say you don't want your woman to have male friends. Think about that. Nora Smith. Let's see. Let's look her up.
You know those nights when it's 11 p.m. and all you can think about is fast food? I was laying in bed and got hit with this insane craving for some curly fries and chicken nuggets, so that's exactly what I got up to make. I spiralized my potatoes, soaked that in warm water and salt, and got started on my chicken nuggets. Cut up my chicken and marinated it in some pickle juice and buttermilk for about 45 minutes
What?
while I got started on my batter for my fries. I mixed my flour with a bunch of spices and salt, added some water, and once it hit the consistency I wanted, I tossed my spiralized potatoes in it. Got my oil ready to fry, and once it was hot enough, I dropped in my curly fries in batches, let them cook for about 15 minutes, set them aside, repeated that with all 4 of my batches before sprinkling them with some salt. At this point, my chicken is ready, so I mixed some cornstarch flour, baking powder.
Black men, this is the new standard. If the black woman you're dating, so say you take a chick out on a first date, right? If on a second date she not offering to do this shit right here, don't fuck with her. If she hit you up on the second date and second time you took on the first date and she hit you up the second time, like, so where you taking me tonight? I'm saying, so you should respond to her. So, I'm gonna need you to get your Nara Smith on. How many recipes can you cook or some shit? This is the new standard. So if the first date you did your job as a brother, a black man, and you took her out to someplace nice, if on the second time she not calling you to offer, hey, I could cook for you, I could do some Nara Smith for you, don't fuck with her. Black women expect you to provide and all that shit. Expect her to cook like Nara Smith. This is the new standard right here. Hold on, let me look. Let me look. Hold on. See, the reason why black women are not upset with Nara Smith because she's doing it for a white dude. That's why. I'm just letting y'all know that.
Ever since my toddlers saw fruit roll ups at the store, they've been asking for them. So today, when they asked for a snack, I decided to just make them some. I decided to make two different kinds, one of them being mango pineapple and the other
Look
one
at this
being
black chick right
strawberry
here.
raspberry. I started by chopping up my mango and pineapple,
She's making fruit roll-ups from scratch with natural fruit. Look at this ugly booger wolf right here. 6 hour for a snack. Always a big booger wolf talking shit. 6 hour for a snack, man.
adding nuts on
It's a healthy snack, better than fruit roll-ups. I bet you can't cook it.
a blender alongside some lime and brown sugar. I blended that up and set that aside. I moved on to cutting up my washed strawberries. I added them to my blender as well, found some raspberries in the fridge, and topped that off with a squeeze of lemon and some brown sugar as well. Since I didn't want any seeds in my fruit roll ups, I strained my puree. Once it was all smooth, I poured it onto my baking tray, making sure to spread it out evenly, and repeated that with both of my purees. I set my oven to about 180 and let these bake for about 6 hours. And once they were all dried out, I transferred them to parchment.
Let me tell y'all something. She said she saw her children. She said her children wanted some fruit roll-ups that they saw at the store, and she got her light skin, high yellow ass and made them bitches from scratch. Shout out to to the white brother that got this type of chick, bro. That I.
Paper, cut them in strips, and rolled them up. The kids couldn't wait any
He got game. The brother that got this chick, he got game.
longer, so they started eating the red fruit roll ups, so I didn't have a lot to work with. These were gone in less than 30 minutes. Ever since my toddlers saw fruit roll ups at the store, they've been
She made fruit roll-ups from scratch. Uh, Shout out for TikTok. Hold on. Let me see
I
if
was in the middle of making dinner when I realized we didn't have any hot sauce anymore, and since Lucky doesn't eat any meal without it, I decided to do a quick restock. I started with my green jalapeno hot sauce. I chopped up some
Y'all
onions,
focus.
sauteed that in
The
some
people in
oil
the
until
comment
brown,
section, they're
added in my
focusing on the wrong shit. I'm looking at her cooking.
seeded jalapenos, some vinegar, water, cumin, salt, garlic powder. That simmer, then added that to a blender with some cilantro and lime. I set that aside while I
She
got
made this
started
shit
on
from
my habanero and
scratch.
plum hot sauce. I like having one hot sauce that's a little bit sweeter. I cut up my plums, added them to my pot with my habaneros, some garlic, vinegar. Let those simmer until soft, blended them up, and set that bottle aside to cool. Last but not least, I made a very classic hot sauce I was going to use for some hot honey chicken tenders. Deseeded my Fresno chili, added them to a pot with garlic, vinegar, some salt, blended that up, and there we go. These are going to last about a week. I was in the middle of making dinner when I
Shout out to Nora Smith, bro. Serious business. There was another chick. Um, oh, hold on. Let me share this couple again. Oh, There was another chick that I had seen here. SUI, Charlotte. Look at this Becky right here.
I am on to see my husband. I'm happy to see my husband. I am on to see my husband. I'm happy to see my husband.
So, mind you, a traditional chick that's not a 304 is a problem in today's society. And if a black man wants a woman like this, he's a sinner. He's a bad person. He's evil and wicked. Oh my God, he got no game. He insecure because he don't want a 304. What did we? How did we get there? He's a modern man because he wants to be traditional. That make no fucking sense. My bad. He's a modern man because he doesn't want a modern 304.
To
He
in the
wants
gym
a modern woman that's a 304. He wants a traditional woman. He's a modern man.
without my husband.
Thus, you niggas say you play a Mac and game niggas. Let's say you like 304s and you don't want your standard for your type of woman that you want is you want her to be a 304. Let's say that. Instead of trying to condition and psychologically shame other men to like the type of chicks you like, which goes against the manhood code, since I talk about masculinity and manhood. Oh, and for like I said earlier, if traditional men built the house, fought for the house, and bled for the house, they have a right to push their traditional influence on the women. So you can't tell them they can't push that influence or they're insecure for wanting that. It's their house, not yours.
I did this when I was single, and when I tell you the amount of people, men, that walk up to me in the gym, it's countless. And a married woman, whether she has a ring on her finger or not, men just sometimes don't follow those boundaries. And it's not about trust, it's about removing yourself from a situation before it can even happen. Like, I just wait for him and I go to the gym with him. And he's like my
A lot of the playing game act niggas tell you they they tell you that you're insecure and that's what you type of chick you want because they want to be able to fuck your wife. That's what that is. They want to disarm you.
trainer. Number
And
two,
if you get upset about it, they call you a simp or insecure.
my husband does not have to lift a finger when he is at home, because if he's the breadwinner and he goes out, the provider, he works, and he works long hours, and he works a very physical.
No, the game niggas is gonna say, you don't know, she could just be saying or speaking what you red pill niggas want to hear. But hold on, she's in a relationship with her man. Is she not supposed to be the reflection of what her man say, or her man's influence, or the influence of red pill niggas? So the red pill niggas are not allowed to have women that believe in what they preach and their influence and repeat and sound like them. Now, sure enough, you're absolutely correct. There are chameleons out there and there are grifters, but that's why you got to vet these women to see if that's who they really are. So why not give them the game on how to vet to see if these type of women are who they say they are? That's simple. Just the game is so simple in black and white.
Physical labor job. He's an electrician, so he does not need to come home and clean up. He doesn't need to help me cook. But there are times when he just wants to help me every now and then, and that is very welcomed, but he absolutely does not have to. As a homosexual,
Which most black men say, even in a 50-50 situation, typically black men are doing 80%. And the black woman's really doing 35%, in my opinion. No, not opinion, it's what it is, right? What I mean when I say that, say, the black woman comes home, she goes pick up the kids from school, she comes home from work, she comes home and she's cooking the food. The husband, what he'll do is he'll go do yard work, he'll go clean up the house, he'll even give the kids a bath, bathe the kids, he'll even help them do homework. So his 80% of share or his lion's share of whatever he's doing on top of that and helping her with her chores too. That's majority of the situations in black culture between black women and black men. And say even in a situation where say the brother he's a breadwinner, he's still helping the wife do some of the things. That's supposed to be her responsibility. This is why I don't believe a lot of these black women when they get on this internet and say what they're saying. A lot of them be lying. A lot of them be getting in a relationship with broke dudes on purpose. So that's the other thing that we do here, not me, that a lot of niggas on this YouTube do, is that they pick the black men who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, who is the minority, and they use those men to say that all black men are doing this. Right. And because you can't measure everything with statistics. You can't measure everything with stats because somebody would have to sit there and do a survey. You can't do survey on every little thing. So then now a lot of the arguments on these panels become subjectivity and anecdotal. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back.
I think it is important that the woman has the house clean, a hot meal on the table for her husband and her kids if she has any, and a really welcoming environment. Three, my husband gets the final say. So if I want to make a bigger purchase, and I'm not talking grocery shopping, I mean something extra, I always go to him first, anyways. But if he says no and puts his foot down, then the answer is no. Even though he's
So why y'all can't teach? Because that's how men are supposed to move. If you say no on something, whether she likes it or not, she gotta follow that instruction. What's wrong with that? It doesn't sound like he's a sucker. It don't sound like he's a beta. It don't sound like he a simp. It sounds like he being an alpha nigga in his situation. But then y'all gonna say you can't value that man based upon what the woman said. Don't listen to the woman. But when these black women get up here and they lie on black men, you listen to every lie they say and listen to every lie they say as the truth, though.
bringing in the money to our family and it's our money, he does get the final say. Four, I cook him what he wants to eat. A lot of wives I see they like get in these relationships and they try and change their
This
man's
is why black men they don't want you to date outside your race. Because if you run into a white woman that's like this, or a Maria that's like this, or Mei Ling like this, it's gonna put a new standard into your brain, and you're not gonna want to date less. Right? Hold on, I want to show a Mei Ling right quick. Hold on, Mei Ling, Mei Ling, Ling, Mei Ling. No, it's Mei Ling right here.
Routine. And sometimes when I feel unmotivated to do anything, I have to remind myself my whys and the purpose of it all. And if this is you, if you also need motivation to clean and do some housework, then this video is for you. This is my everyday homemaking as a Christian
So this is a Mei Ling right here, Li Li, Ling Li. Know what I'm saying?
wife and a mama of two.
Why should why do we want to deny black men from requesting this and getting what they request? Ain't a leader of a community or chief of an army supposed to get what he asks for? Yes. If I'm the chief of my village, I'm entitled to get what I ask for. If you're gonna tell me I'm the leader and I can't get what I ask my woman to do or from my woman, then don't tell me I'm the leader of you. Don't tell me it's my leadership. Why should not why are we denying why is it a sin for black men to get this? Why do you want black men to date hoes? and 304s? Why?
Once washing up is done, I'm just going to give the sink
Oh, this is
a good
UK
scrub
Becky.
using Sith Cream Cleaner and my
I'm kind of getting tired, so we're gonna go back to over here. We're gonna remove that from stage and put my face up there. So, bottom line, the point of this video I was making today is that the only sin now is black men who wants a modest wife, and in black culture, it's normalized for black men to pick hoes and pick, promiscuous women, and like I was saying earlier, because black men nowadays have the technology to better, you have Instagram, you have social media, it's easier for you now to vet a chick to see if she's a 304. So the game or the hustle used to be is that when a black chick was done with her 304 ism, she was able to hide that shit and get a traditional relationship from a brother. Now, back during, I want to say Gen X or back during the boomer generation, the vetting standard for that time was what, maybe like 6 months or 9 months. And typically, women who are 304s, they can hold themselves out for 6 to 9 months, right? Now, that was the standard for that time, right? And a lot of boomer men and even Gen X men or silent generation men, like I said, they didn't have the technology that we have today with us millennials and Gen Alpha, right? Where we could go on the internet, go on a chick's Instagram or social media and say, okay, she's twerking. Okay, she's speaking Marxism. Okay, she's saying feminism. Let me not even talk to this chick no more, right? So now that black men have the technology today, and because of the Black Manosphere, they're aware of, and even the dating coaches and the relationship coaches, they're aware of the games that the women play in real life, and they got social media, right? So it's very difficult now for a 304 or a whore to now engage in a promiscuous lifestyle that she chose to be in, and then now try to fix herself up to pretend to be something she's not, try to pretend to be a traditional woman. It's more difficult for them to get into relationships with a traditional dude now. That used to be the hustle. That used to be the game. They can't run it no more, right? So now what they have at their disposal is now to psychologically shame black men to not want modest women. Hold on, let me show this last clip right quick, and then we up out of here. Hold on. I don't think. Hold on. I gotta put it on the stage. I keep forgetting that.
You're a virgin?
Yes,
And how old are you?
I'm 21.
Why haven't you done the deed yet?
The key to a strong society is family. And so, in my view, choosing my future husband is like the most important decision I'll ever make. And I'm somebody that I know my heart and I know that I fall really hard when I meet somebody. So, I want to retain some level of.
Even if those, because those are not the argument that a lot of the game niggas was making against this chick is that she's repeating red pill talking points, or she's repeating whether they're red pill talking points or not. What was wrong with the first sentence she's saying? The key to any society is family, and what the structure of monogamous relationships was the framework for that family structure. What's wrong with what she's saying? Fuck red pill talking point. Fuck whatever talking point. What she was saying, was it wrong? And what's wrong with her saying that's what she want to be? And like I said earlier, are the dudes who are red pill right? Are they not allowed to find women that's also red pill like them too? Should not there be women that want to follow the influence of a red pill dude? Because remember, if you go watch Matrix, the Matrix movie, Trinity, even though Neo was red pill, he still had a girlfriend by the name of Trinity. Most of the people in that Matrix movie, after they became red pill, they had wives, they had girlfriends, they had family, they had children. Link, right, the brother that had the dreadlocks, he had a wife and family. He was red pill. So why is it wrong for the red pill dudes to find a woman that wants to genuinely adapt to their influence? That's the whole point of the game, right? Find a woman that wants to follow your influence. So what's wrong with women that want to follow that? I see. You know what the problem is? A lot of you niggas who are players of max, you want all the women to be hoes. That's what you want. And like Rome, like Greek, like Greece, or many other empires that came before this one, they all fell because the society wanted to into debauchery or sex culture. So let's remember that.
Objectivity when I'm selecting a future partner. And I know that if I had sex with them, I would be completely imprinted on them. And instead of being like, okay, is this person, do they have the qualities that I'm looking for in a husband? Or am I just making it work?
Is there any reason?
What's wrong with a woman saying that? Right? It's true that a man imprints himself onto that woman. Science backs that. What's wrong with that? Think about that. If women absorb your semen or your sperm, right? Remember, she has to absorb your DNA. That's how they make a baby. That woman absorbs your genetic code into her zygote or into her womb, and that womb creates that baby based upon your DNA structure, your genetic code. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with her saying, yo, I want to be careful who I give my body to? What's wrong with if multiple women say that? Mind you, that's traditional, not modern, what she's saying. So what's wrong if she says that? So now we are shaming women who generally want to be non-promiscuous or monogamous or virgins, and we're shaming the men. It's a sin for the men to value that or want that. It's sinful for black men to want that. That's what we're saying. That's insane to me. That is truly insane to me. If that's where we're going, right? But anyway, the whole point of this video and my time here in this space or in these spaces is to make it normal for black men to say, yo, I don't want a promiscuous woman. I don't want a hoe. I don't want a chick for these streets. I request a woman that cooks, cleans, and respects me. Even if it's in a 50-50 situation. If you black women can get into a relationship with a broke bum ass nigga and you could do 50-50 with a white man, you could do 50-50 with a brother. Shut the fuck up. That us. So, it has to be normalized for black men, because if you go watch the balloon pop shows, right? If the brother jumps up there and he says, or he's even hinting towards, yo, I want a traditional chick, a chick that cooks, cleans, or whatsoever, they're all going to pop the balloon and they're all going to be upset with him. So, and then a lot of the brothers, they're scared to say it. They're shook to say that. Even if you go on these panels, they're shook to say it. But anyway, I'm Kiss Shorty Gamer Nation. I'm out. Like, share, and subscribe.